Okay, so basically here's what's up. So I ordered my Jeep Gladiator on May 17th and I picked it up on June 17th. So it was late spring, wasn't even summertime yet. And at that point in time, my insurance company didn't have a listing for Jeep Gladiator in their system. Like if my insurance agent typed in my VIN number, it didn't come up with anything. It was just too new of a vehicle and the insurance company hadn't updated their database yet. So in order to get insurance on it, what she had to do was basically type in Jeep Gladiator, and she kind of made a generic VIN number just so I could have a policy on it. And then obviously, as soon as possible, I wanted to get it updated so that my VIN number was correct, and my insurance cards reflected the correct VIN number. Obviously I wanted to get that done ASAP, but it took a little while. So here it is, October. I go into the insurance office a couple weeks ago. I said, hey, let's try the VIN number now. We typed it back in. Boom, it works. Okay, no problem. But then today, I get a letter in the mail saying that my insurance premium is going way up. And when I say way up, I mean way up. Now, keep in mind that on this policy, I just have two Jeeps. Not Maseratis, not Porsches, just two Jeeps, my Gladiator and the wife's Cherokee. And I pay monthly. They auto debit, from my account monthly. So we were paying about $190 or so back when I had the Wrangler and she had the Cherokee, which I was okay with. Two relatively new Jeeps, full coverage policies, $190 a month for both of them. Not too terribly bad. I was okay with it. I mean, it's a lot of money, but I was okay with it. And then a couple months ago, it went up to 208. I have no idea why. We've never had any claims on these Jeeps. I've never had any claims, period. Never even paid a speeding ticket in my life. I mean, I've got a perfect record. But for some reason, my insurance keeps going up. Well, now that I've added the Gladiator, check this out. $270.53 per month just for the Gladiator and the Cherokee. Okay, so, this is an increase of $62 a month over basically what I was paying when I had the Wrangler. So that's a pretty significant jump to get to the point where, I mean, we're closing in on $300 a month for these two Jeeps. I'm in my 40s and she is too. We have good driving records. I mean, this is starting to get really ridiculous. And so, if you do some reading over on the Jeep Gladiator forum, I think there's a thread going over there. Maybe a little while since it's been updated, but there's a thread going over there dealing with this topic. The Jeep Gladiator has made a lot of people see increases in their premiums. And, I can understand it going up a little bit because it is a little bit more expensive of a vehicle compared to the Wrangler. And it does have a much higher towing capacity. But, I mean, how many people, what percentage of guys crash while they're towing? I mean, I know it happens, but what percentage of people crash while they're hauling or towing something? I mean, that's when you're being the most careful, right? So it just doesn't make any sense to me that we're talking hundreds of dollars more every year for insurance on this thing. It's crazy. So that was kind of a shocker. What have your experiences been? Anybody have a Gladiator? Did you notice your insurance go way up? Post below and let us know, I mean, maybe it's a regional thing. I'm in Kentucky, of course. Maybe it's just a regional thing. I don't know. What was your experience? I'm kind of shocked by this, and I think now I'm going to shop around. I've got a local agent, and I love to shop local, but it's getting to the point where I think I'm going to have to shop around. So let us know what your experience has been. Is there a company out there that gives pretty good rates on the Jeep Gladiator? I'd love to hear it. So, like I said, post a comment below and let me know. And I'll let you know if I find out any way to get this premium back down where it should be. All right. So, in other news, I did get a chance to look at my trailer a little bit more closely and fix a couple little things on it. And I think it's ready now to go put a toy in it. So, the question is what toy to put in it. We're looking. So things have finally settled down a little bit. I've been super busy lately, but I got the chance to take a look at this trailer a little bit more closely, and even being a brand new trailer, there were a few issues. So the first thing I noticed is that one of my axle brakes was not working, and it turns out that the wire was broken. At the factory, I guess they cut those wires too short, and one of them came loose, so I had to go in there and do a right there I had to put a heat shrink butt connector in line and kind of rewire it. There's a piece of scrap wire I had laying around to get the brake to work. So that was kind of a bummer, but it wasn't a big deal, I guess. And then up on top of the trailer, I was noticing that there were some holes in the sealant. This thing doesn't have the one-piece roof, but what they do apparently, and I didn't know this, they roll the edge of the roof over and then they put this trim around it. So the sealant that they put around the top lip is just to keep trash and leaves and stuff out. It's not really to keep rain and water from getting inside the trailer. And I didn't know that, but when I was up there looking, I saw a bunch of holes in the sealant. So I had the company send me a couple of tubes of sealant, and I went up there and just filled the holes in anyway. Eventually, maybe next year, I'll get some of that Eternabond tape and just kind of go along the top edge. That stuff is awesome because it's easy to apply and it lasts a long time. But from what they're telling me, it wouldn't have allowed water to get in the trailer. More or less, it would just allow junk to get in the edge. So I went ahead and sealed that back up too. And then the thing that I just now did was add this door catch, I guess. See there? So when I have the door completely open, you can latch it there and it'll hold it open so the wind won't hit you in the rear end with it. But this trailer also has the safety chain here with the spring on it. So I had to kind of stretch that S-clip out a little bit so I can unhook it when I need to open the door all the way up. And then I can just latch it right there with a latch. I keep saying latch, but I mean catch. You get the picture. And then as far as the inside of the trailer goes, what's up, AJ? Basically, I think what we've decided to do, because when they do the D-rings in the floor, they actually, usually anyway, they weld them to the frame. And that's a little bit more work, obviously. So I think what we're going to do is just get some E-track and just put some runs of E-track down through here. That way, whenever we get an ATV, UTV, whatever the case might be in here, it'll be easy just to do some tire straps or loops. And then wherever we put the machine in the trailer, you know, it'll be pretty easy to strap it down. So I think we're going to go that way as far as tie downs go. And then, of course, I got to get all this junk out of here. But I'm going to build some kind of a little shelf up here. Might even put a little bitty sink in it and a mirror on the wall. Kind of build just a makeshift area where, like, if you're camping, you know, in the morning you could fix a cup of coffee or put your contact lenses in or wash your hands or whatever, you know, just the basic stuff, basic amenities you might like to have if you're camping. That way it doesn't take up a whole lot of space, but it'll be pretty convenient. And the cool thing about this is obviously you don't have to worry about the weather in here. So eventually I'm going to cut a little hole here, put a, what do they call those? A luggage door or cargo door. I can't remember what they call those, but it's just a door that flaps outward. And then this guy up in Louisville gave me this idea. And then he ran a window unit air conditioner in there. So he can haul that around with him. And when it gets to the campsite, he just popped that door open, put the window unit in, and you got AC right there. Really cool idea. So I might do something like that. But pretty much that's what's going on with the trailer right now. And obviously we just need to put something in here. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but this trailer has those stabilizer jacks on it, and that's really cool too. My last one didn't have that on there. So obviously if you're camping out of this thing, that's really nice to be able to unhook the truck and stabilize this thing back here and not have to worry about it rocking around or moving. So I'm kind of happy that that's on there too. But you know, if you guys shop in closed trailers, there's 50 million brands out there, especially if you go down to Georgia. Seems like they've got some kind of a sweatshop operation going on down there or something. It's crazy how many brands and manufacturing facilities of these trailers there are. And there's so many different features and things you have to pay attention to. This one certainly, just like all of them, had its flaws and it wasn't perfect. But I do really like a lot of the features that they put in this trailer. It's an Arising brand. Rising Industries, I think is the actual name. And you know, I do like how they have like the diamond plate around the edge here and like that extra lip up there to keep the water from coming down in the top of the ramp door. You got two handles there to pull the door down, just LED lighting all over. It's just got some really cool features in it. And of course it had the 7-foot height, which was the really big deal for us. So you know, if you're shopping these things, you got to pay attention to all that stuff and make sure you're getting something that's gonna suit all of your needs. And you guys have probably heard of Rockwell axles if you're into Jeeps and 4x4s. That trailer actually has Rockwell axles under it. I didn't know that Rockwell still made axles, but I guess they do. It rides pretty good, I know that. So we're just gonna move this trailer out of the driveway, put it down there in the field somewhere out of the way for the time being. Of course, these have a 2 5/16 inch ball, and I already have one of those, thankfully. AJ doing the D here. We don't have to hook up the safety chains and all that stuff because we're just moving it down in the yard. But I will say that as far as hooking up the chains and the lights and everything on this, the Gladiator is awesome because the safety chain attachment points are right there, easy to get to. They're heavy duty, worked out fantastic. Of course, you got your receptacle there for your trailer lights. I mean, it was a piece of cake hooking this thing up. This truck is just really, really handy. So let's get going here. So I'm out here in the garage changing the air filter on my wife's Jeep Cherokee with the 2.4 liter engine, which by the way is a pain in the rear end because instead of just having snap clips, they've got all these screws and they're way down in there. So I had to use 2 extensions with an 8mm socket to get down there to them. And then of course I dropped one way down in there. So I had to get a magnet and try to fish it out. It's a real pain. Come on, Jeep, you can do better than that. But anyhow, I noticed something interesting here. You can see the Mopar filter on top. This is the one obviously that was in the Jeep. And then on the bottom is a Wix filter. Now this is the house brand I got from Rock Auto, but it was supposed to be, it was listed under the Wix filters. And you know, you can see that the filter media is a lot thicker on the Mopar filter. A lot thicker. There's just a lot more surface area and more pleat there. So I think from now on, I'm gonna get the Mopar filters. You can see the part number there. Sorry for the shaky camera. But yeah, if you guys are gonna do an air filter swap out on one of these, make sure you get the Mopar filter. Looks to be a much, much higher quality filter. Okay, back to work we go.